Hello, Serge here from the backyard driving range. Oh, we have a comment that came into customer service, and I'm not going to read the name who sent it because he asked me not to do a daily on it, but I think he brings up some really good points that will be helpful to all of us, so I'm going to read his comments. He says, Serge, your vertical position is awful. This is the day when I showed the picture of me at the vertical swing. I said, hopefully a picture's worth 1,000 words. You talk about eliminating angles, and yes, that is good, but you never address how the muscles work. Well, I do address how the muscles work. I've done that in a lot of dailies, and it's also all over a bunch of the videos on the website about the peak performance golf swing, the dailies the videos that you can purchase. It's written up extensively in the performance manual. And so, but that day when I talked about the positions was mostly about talking about the positions, not about the muscles that work in doing them. The body must reroute the club to impact position. You are using a Furic swing. Well, I will tell you, I've always said this. A lot of people say Furic has a stupid swing, but I think Furic has the peak performance golf swing. He kind of loops the club a little outside, turns to his toe line, and swings down through there. Furic never gets in the sacred burial ground, so he does have it. Another guy that has it was Lee Trevino. He stood way open, came out like that, and swung down the line. Trevino never got behind his body. And both of these guys are very accurate drivers of the ball. So that's a very good observation from this gentleman. And it's one of the first times I've ever seen somebody figure out that Furic does have basically the peak performance golf swing. Yes, it is radical. You are manipulating the club and teaching a methodology that requires a rooting of the swing, but the opposite, that requires a rooting of the club against its design and then rerouting to impact. Jim Hardy does the same thing on a one-plane swing, but the opposite way. The club is closed on the backswing till the body can't do it anymore. Then he recommends the forearm rotate to square at the top. Then he rotates close to the downswing. Gee, sounds easy, doesn't it? I think he's saying that rhetorically because it isn't. And yes, he's 100% correct. Jim Hardy and the one-plane swing is exactly opposite of us. And what he was saying is that Hardy takes it away shut, and then as you come up here, then you open it up there, and then you come back down, and they usually tend to hold on to it, as I call it, the lag drag whole block going through, and swing out there and have this kind of finish up there where they're holding on to the club. And basically what they're doing is they're making sure that the toe never turns over past the heel. So even at impact, at the best they're doing at impact, they're coming in here and they're still holding on. Whereas we square up the impact with both arms dead straight. In many cases, they have a little bit of bend in their arm because they're pulling through. And many of them really work on keeping their right wrist at this angle on the way down, and through impact they're trying to keep that angle as much as they can, and so that the toe never passes the heel. And if the toe never passes the heel, the ball can't go left. So that's an anti, shall we say, hook swing, and that's exactly basically what Ben Hogan did. So these observations this gentleman's making are 100% correct. And again, we are just the opposite in the peak performance swing, because we go in to catch his mid toe up and up the tree, and then we come back down, and when we come back down to impact, both of our arms straighten up, we're behind the ball, and we go into the forward mid toe up and up the tree. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a second because he's going to go on and make some other observations. So this gentleman's done some homework. I just think he's got things a little bit mixed up. And the reason why I decided to read this is because maybe some of y'all have this mix up here, and we're going to be able to take care of this. He says, no, it doesn't work for me. Common sense says you get the club too vertical. The club is designed to swing on an arch, and he used the word arch, A-R-C-H, not a vertical plane. To swing a club vertical goes against the physics of its design. Sorry, but that is the truth of the matter, as the pennants say on TV. Okay, now this is what made me decide I'm going to have to say something. I'm going to have to come back. I need to come here and straighten this out, because here he's all wrong. The club is designed to fit my body. The club, first off, let's look up the definition of the word arc. Webster's dictionary, and the word arc is A-R-C as it relates to a golf swing. So Webster defines arc. Number one, like a curved line or object. Number two, the bend of incandescent light when a current leaps a short gap between electrodes. But number 3 is the one that applies to a golf swing. Any part of a curve, especially of a circle. Okay? So the golf swing is an arc because it is not a perfect circle. It's somewhat arced. It's more like an ellipse. All right? And he says, and this gentleman came in and says, you get the club too vertical. The club is designed to swing on an arc, not a vertical plane. Well, it still has to have a vertical plane. Everything in space has a plane, especially when you're swinging like a golf club here. So there is a vertical plane. And I state that we always swing on the maximum vertical incline plane for our posture. And once we get in good posture, the way we describe it is you draw a line from the ball through the neck resting on the shoulders, and we swing up. Our arms eventually get on the plane right about here once we reach the toe line and start lifting. The arms running up above that plane, but the club goes through it. Modern people today want the club below that plane all the way on both sides. Well, we get up on it here, we come down. As we start coming down, we come off that plane, and we hit the ball at impact, and both arms straighten up exactly at impact. And as we go into the forward mitt and come up on this side, this arm gets up on the plane, is rubbing the plane, but the club goes through it again on that side. Now, the key is, why do we do that? Well, we can't forget physics. Physics is what? The number 1 law of physics is gravity. We know anything that goes up has to come down. So if I swing a golf club up to here where he's talking about that he wants it, or states it's a better place to be, that club's heavy. I swing up here, it falls down. And guess what? When God created our bodies, and as you all know if you've been on this site, this is the only swing that is founded completely in physics and physiology. And when God created the world and he created physics first, when he created our bodies, he did not create them to defy the laws of physics that he created. So when you stand here and you swing a golf club, or not even swing a golf club, let's just say standing up. So if you all are there, stand up at home or wherever you're watching this, and swing your arms in front of your body. The only place they can swing is in front of your body, and they swing in a regular circle, and they're swinging on this plane, correct? Now, I can't swing them through me, and I can't swing them behind me. All I can swing them is this way. Now, I can swing them this way around my body, but if you notice, when I start going like this, my elbows break more. I can't keep my left arm straight. What about the concept of keeping your left arm relatively straight? Because we know the concept of that we get our power is centrifugal force, the rock swinging on the end of a string, right? And as I swing a rock faster, that rock is swinging in a circle because I can maintain a perfect arc here, but it's swinging on a plane. And what's the most effective way to swing a rock on a circle? Straight up and down. If I start tilting my hand and give the arc, the circle of that it's on, away from 100% 90 degrees to the ground, gravity, and I go this way, it takes more energy to keep the rock going. Why? Because if I just even slow down and make one little twitch in this thing, boom, the rock falls out of orbit because gravity's always trying to pull it out. But up here, so this way, when you swing on this, on anything but 90 degrees, gravity is fighting against you. It is not your friend, it is your enemy. So our arms swing only up and down. It perfectly fits. Swing up, down, and back up. All right? And so the point that I'm bringing all this up is because one of the things I do whenever I give seminars or I give clinics, one of the first things I always say, even when I'm dealing with golf pros, I say, I want you all to just keep an open mind, because I'm going to tell you things that you've never heard before and probably never thought about. Why did I think about these things? Well, because I was trying to get rid of back pain, and one day I just started asking questions. And I asked, what has to happen? Why does it have to happen? And how do you make it happen? And when I had answers I couldn't answer, I went to the experts and found out. My first mentor was Dr. Ned Armstrong, an orthopedic and sports medicine specialist. And I had figured out 3/4, and I had figured out short was better just by my own performance. My back pain went away. I was hitting it more solid. I was hitting the ball straighter and longer than I ever hit it, and the pain was gone. But I knew it was 3/4 and vertical was better, but I didn't know why. I finally called him up one day and asked him a question. He said, stand up and swing your arms in front of your body. And what happens 2 times? They cross at 12 and 6. And that means every time at 12 and 6, they're right here. And when they're swinging up and down, the palms are perpendicular to the ground, right? And what does perpendicular to the ground mean if you're holding a golf club? Perpendicular palms to the ground means the club's perpendicular to the ground. All right? So I think this concept that the statement here where he says, common sense says you get the club too vertical, I'm sorry. It isn't. Common sense says it has to be there because common sense is going to tell us that's the way my body's designed to work. And then let's just throw in the little concept of gravity. Okay? So he brings up a lot of good points, but he breaks down when he goes to his common sense thing. And that's why I always say you have to keep an open mind and you have to investigate. And again, like I said, with Dr. Armstrong, and then when I went with Henry Rifle, my engineer and mathematician and physicist guy that I studied with, we asked the same questions. What has to happen? Why does it happen? How do you make it happen to the golf ball? And the answers we kept getting weren't anywhere near close to what is general golf instruction. And so, therefore, you can hit a golf ball with these other swings, but it's got a great more degree of error. And as most of you who've actually gotten to this site by Googling pain-free golf or pain-free swing or whatever, or simpler golf, got to this site and started doing it, many of you said the first thing, wow, this makes sense. It makes sense because it's physics and it's physiology. I think this gentleman has been studying the swing so much, he's probably kind of mixed up in what he's doing now. And hopefully if he is seeing this video, he asked me not to do it, and then I'm doing it for him because I just wanted to, hopefully see this isn't logic that I'm putting here. This is fact. 100% fact. Physics, physiology. And this is the way you swing your arms up and down. And you put a club in it, straight up, straight down, go straight back up. For every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So it's all here. It's nothing, I didn't invent this swing. I just figured it out by asking the questions, getting the answers, and piecing it all together with the experts. And we've done 2 biomechanical studies that will be up on the site in the near future. I've been saying that for a while, but it's coming. And you'll be able to go there and read the scientific data from computer analysis and the studies done by, one was used for master's thesis at Cal State Fullerton in biomechanics, and another one was done by a biomechanist. And I'm having both of these reevaluated by PhDs in biomechanics to make sure to get double checked and get their opinions on it. And that's what's holding it up right now. But it's fact. I don't deal in fiction and I don't deal in opinion, supposition, speculation, trial and error. Peak performance is built 100% on the facts of physics and physiology. And if someone chooses to ignore that, then that's their choice. But most of us surgites know that it works because, like 99% of the time when I start teaching somebody for the first time, they say, wow, this makes so much sense. Well, it makes sense because it's the way God created the world to turn. And it's the way your body's designed to move, and your body's designed to move in harmony with the laws of physics, which is the way the world turns. Okay? So hopefully this clears up some questions, or at least gives you a better understanding about why are we doing things. Because I always like people to know why. That's why when I teach, I just don't say do it. I explain everything. Because remember, ultimately, to do anything, especially like making an intricate body movement of what swinging a golf club is, you have to have it here before you get it into your hands and the rest of your body. Because there's no such thing as muscle memory, it's mental memory. And so until your brain knows what you got to do, why you have to do it, and then how to do it, it can't send the right messages and signals to the correct body parts to move at the correct time and the correct sequences and to do it. So that's the other fine reason why that I explain these things all the time, because once you got it here and you rationalize it and understand it and you believe it and you know what has to happen, then you got a chance of making it happen because it's mental memory that triggers the muscles to make the proper swings. Okay, so I kind of got a little long on this today, but I felt that some of these things in that statement today would be very good at clearing up some things and giving you all another reason why I spend the time of explaining things to y'all, because you got to get it here before you got it here to make this thing work. Okay, it's all about swinging a club by the rules and the rules of physics, physiology. That's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.